And welcome to the Phoenix Suns Solar Panel Podcast. I do apologize if you're watching on the YouTube right now. We are actually using a new encoding software that has this huge delay. So at the very beginning of the video, there's just 5 seconds of me shaking my head. And now that I'm watching it, that's actually reasonably embarrassing. But anyway, thank you guys so much for joining the Suns Solar Panel Podcast. We will get all of these technical difficulties sorted out. But joining us today, Mr. Greg Esposito on a 4-second delay.
Screw you, YouTube. That's what I've got to say. I mean, really, can you guys not get your stuff together? All of a sudden, we can't live stream. We got to download some software and figure it out in 5 minutes.
Like reasonably annoying, but we're here. And so before we get started, we're going to answer a bunch of your questions here in the YouTube chat. We also have some people that hit us up on Twitter with mailbag questions, but I do want to go ahead and thank two listeners who last week decided that they wanted to support the podcast and they wanted to do the $10 a month donation. And so Steve Holler and Daniel Babb, first off, thank you guys so much. Second off, you need to hit me up on Twitter at Sun Solar Panel with your addresses so I know where to send the Sun swag.
I love when we get new people to follow us and donate, and then Tim gets to go to the post office. That's actually my favorite part of it, is Tim has to schlep his ass to the post office and mail stuff. So thanks, guys.
We're recording this during a presidential debate, and everybody is like, yeah, F politics. I'd rather watch this.
We can debate things. We got Sun stuff to debate, questions that need answered. And I have a 4-point plan that can do this for you, all right? Well, we can make this happen. How do we get a thumbs down? This new software shows me when people give us a thumbs down even on this video. I'm not sure I like this.
So if you're watching, give us a thumbs up because it really does help with the YouTube algorithm. So let's go ahead and delve into the question, shall we?
Sure.
All right, so this is from the VP of Dad Jokes on Twitter. He said, how much do you buy into positive locker room influence, part of an NBA team, and bringing players in who fulfill that role?
Fun VP of Dad Joke story real quick. Mike Dunlap over on Twitter. I actually turned him down for a job in the Suns digital department back in the day, and I remind him of that all the time because I saved him from a world of hurt, and now he works for the big boys over at Fansided. So shout out to you, Mr. Dunlap. But I do buy into the locker room chemistry from having seen it firsthand in that 48-win season that the Suns had with Dragic and Bledsoe and Jeff Hornacek at the helm and Channing Frye in that final season, and just what you saw in the chemistry there, how much these guys enjoyed playing together. And you can look back at the 2009-2010 Suns who made it to the Western Conference Finals. They didn't win because of a great amount of talent or that they were significantly better than other teams. They won because they came together as a team. They fought for a common goal, and they played well together. And I think the Suns have been sorely missing that. They've had a lot of guys who were individuals playing for the name on the back of their jersey, not the name on the front of it, and it's hurt them in the last 4 or 5 seasons. Now you've got a group of guys that I think will find camaraderie together, and that's why I'm bullish on them beating the Vegas over-under at 27. I think this is a 30-35 win team, and if everything goes right, you're pushing maybe 40, and I think the locker room chemistry will have a big reason to do with that.
And I do think that Jamal Crawford last season made a pretty big impact.
Yes, I think that he certainly had an impact. It was the start of what you wanted to see from the locker room. I think Ricky Rubio is going to have a pretty big impact this year as a guy who will help change the culture. DeAndre Ayton and Devin Booker being another year older and having a little bit more command on that locker room. And it's addition by subtraction as well. You don't have TJ Warren, who obviously didn't want to be there, and Josh Jackson, who was a problem and well documented on and off the court. So you add in those factors, and I think there's a big upgrade in terms of the locker room this year.
So one of my favorite national NBA podcasts, it's a little bit lesser known. It's called the Fast Break Breakfast, and they hit me up today on Twitter, and they were asking if Josh Jackson is actually good at anything. Uh, and it was hard to give them a solid yes on that one.
I'm sure that Josh Jackson's good at something. We've yet to see it, but I'm sure he is. So
So Espo, Robert Christie over on the YouTube chat, he is saying for me to turn you up or actually turn me up. I got to tell you. So
how about this? I think I'm louder now. I moved the mic right up closer. I've been a little far from my mic lately. So is that
okay? So it's not that, and we do apologize if one of us is louder than the other. We are using this weird encoding software for the very first time, so there might be some issues with that.
I have an awesome mute button on this end too. I can be Tony Reale and shut you and Dave up now. This is exciting.
So Dave McDevitt over on YouTube, he says, with all this talk of stability, should the Suns have brought in or brought a guy back like Jamal Crawford?
No, I think that Jamal was good for what you got out of him last year, especially in a situation where you had no real point guard. So I don't know. I don't see how bringing him back would have been great and would have been helpful. I think he's a guy that's probably going to wind up with a contender in the end, and I just think that that's better off for him. It's more of what he wants to accomplish. The Suns now have point guards and shooting guards in spades, so you don't have to worry as much as you did last year. Jamal was good for what he brought, but I think it was the right move to kind of just move on from Jamal Crawford.
Yeah, I gotta be perfectly honest with you. I was a little bit disappointed.
Why? I mean, what was it that Jamal Crawford brought to the table that you went, yeah, he really needs to be back? And was he going to be happy with not playing minutes? And I just don't think he was going to play minutes anymore.
Because I do find value in stability.
To what extent, though? Like, what isn't the stability that Devin Booker, DeAndre Ayton, Mikal Bridges, Tyler Johnson, Kelly Oubre, isn't that the stability that you're more concerned about? I mean, those are the guys that the core. Is a peripheral guy like a Jamal Crawford coming back to sit on the bench and not play and potentially be unhappy with the lack of minutes really going to do anything to help this team? Stability for stability's sake, is something that we've, then you would have brought back Dragan Bender, Josh Jackson. I mean, bringing guys back simply for stability isn't necessarily the answer here.
Henry Green over on YouTube, he says, do you guys think the Suns should trade Elie Kobo? And if Dario Saric underperforms, you think the Suns will still bring him back? We kind of talked about this on the last episode, specifically when it comes to when the contracts of the power forwards that the Suns have on the roster all kind of end at the same time.
To me, what are you going to get for Elie Kobo? I mean, maybe you recoup one of those second-round picks if you wait and you trade him sometime in preseason if somebody has an injury, and that's great. I mean, maybe you get that back. But you're not going to get a big haul for Elie Kobo. And then Dario Saric, maybe even if he underperforms, maybe you bring him back because you're going to get him on the cheap, either for the qualifying offer or for a deal that you think may be under market value because he has a bad season. But I think this is a boom or bust move. Either he is the guy that proves he can be your power forward long term, or he just doesn't pan out in the least, and he walks away at that point. They cut ties with him. You use all the cap space that you're going to gain to go get somebody in free agency to play power forward.
Paul from the Fanning the Flames podcast. Which one of you guys would win in a game of horse? Personally, I have seen Espo light it up, so I'm going to go with Espo on this one.
Where the hell did you see me light it up playing basketball?
When we went to when I came down to Phoenix last time, and we were hitting up the little arcade there. But you have a good stroke, man.
Yeah, it never equated to on the court. Except for my final night with the Suns after the game, my good friend and friend of the show, John Bloom, we went and shot half-court shots and I took one and went nothing but net, and that was the appropriate retirement for me playing any kind of basketball. I think it's you, Tim. You play every weekend. I think you would be the guy that would win in a round of horse between us. Dave would break a hip, but I think you would win.
So I'm not saying that I'm a bit overly competitive, but we are starting up a 3-on-3 league that's going to start in September tournament, if you will. And there's a 100% chance that I went and got a couple of people that play for the local college team, the starting point guard and the starting shooting guard, to be on this 3-person team.
Do I need to call you Ice Cube? You're like starting the big three of South Florida. It's
It's a $50 buy-in. I want to get the money for it.
What is meth the leading sponsor for this 3-on-3 league down in Florida? Like, I'd fly down there just to watch you play in this with ringers. I think this is sketchy at best, Tim.
It's going to be fun. Maybe I'll live stream it. All right. So John Burl over on Twitter, he said, "You are gifted a Bill and Ted style time traveling phone booth and can bring one Suns player back from the past in his prime to play on the current roster. Who do you pick?" I'd go with KJ.
God, I went through this and I spent a lot more time than I should have. Well, I was sitting at work. Please don't tell my boss. Trying to think of the answer to this question, and I've gone back and forth on this. Charles Barkley would be nice if he improved his 3-point shot, right? He'd fill that power forward spot perfect. But I don't know that's the easy answer. I think I would go back and grab a Walter Davis, and play him at small forward, or maybe an Eddie Johnson in his prime and put in there as that sharpshooter that comes off the bench as your small forward, a backup shooting guard. Or the craziest one that I came up with is go grab Alvin Adams, teach him to shoot the 3, put him at power forward, and you have the prototypical stretch 4 now, a guy that can pass, that can shoot, that can rebound with the best of them. That may be my answer. Like I told you, I overanalyzed the crap out of this question, and really we all know it's go get Steve Nash at the peak of 7 seconds or less and put him at point guard, and everything's better.
That's a damn truth. So if you are watching on YouTube right now, do us a favor, hit that like button. It really does help with the YouTube algorithms. Nacho Man 64, he's asked us a couple of times. He said, "Do you guys post on Real GM?" Personally, I try really hard to stay off of Phoenix Suns message boards of pretty much any kind, whether or not you're talking about Suns Reddit, the Real GM, any of the Facebook stuff. I don't really like to get involved with that, and I've taken a big step back on Twitter as well. So the answer for that for me is no.
Nacho Man. Sorry. No, we're going to get a lot of thumbs downs after that. But no, I don't anymore. I used to post on Real GM. I used to post on the old Arizona sports fans message boards back in the day, some of the Facebook groups. As I started to work for the team, I kind of took a step back from a lot of that, and I haven't gotten back into it. I'll peruse. I'm kind of the guy that'll look, and I'll hop in on Suns Reddit every once in a while, especially when somebody rips me and I can have a little fun at my own expense. But I'm not on it as much as I used to.
I read it, but I don't like to post and get involved. Amar over on Twitter, he said, "The TJ Warren mysterious injuries, was the player soft or is it by design from management?" I can tell you that dude hit the floor a lot.
No, I mean, he would wind up injured, but there were certainly some bizarre things. There's been rumors. These are unsubstantiated. I could never get anybody to confirm them, but there were tattoos in places that infections rumored. There's all sorts of weird things that came with TJ Warren and what the head injury was and what the ankle injury was last year, and was it motivation? I don't know what the real answer in the end was, but I wish him well in Indianapolis with the Pacers. If it was a change of scenery he needed, I hope it works out for him. That's he was always a nice guy to me. It just never panned out the way we all hoped. here, and that's fine. And maybe he proves everybody wrong, and that cash considerations wasn't the return that you wanted for him. But I wish him nothing but the best. But there were some weird things that went on with him.
This one's from Robert Christie. He says, coach, staff, actual NBA players, if Ayton and Book don't have a great year, is it all on them? I mean, I don't think you should put anything on anything. I don't think you should put a lot on Ayton for if he does have a underwhelming sophomore season. But I think Devin Booker at this point, going into the first year of his max contract, that you can judge him to a lot higher standard. And part of that higher standard needs to be actual wins, not just filling up the box score.
I'd put it on James Jones. He's the one that put the roster together in the end. We all expected to be better. They spent money. They sent guys out. It depends on the situation. I mean, really, for me, how it plays out, though. I mean, if Devin Booker goes out and regresses completely and isn't the guy we've seen the last few years, then, yeah, it's on him. If DeAndre Ayton goes out there and goes from posting 16 and 10 to 5 and 9, well, that's the problem. That's that. But in the end, and it was the same with Ryan McDonough, the same with Lance Blanks. The guy that puts the roster together is where the buck stops. If this turns into an unmitigated disaster, it's on the guy that put the roster together. Just like in the end, it was on Ryan McDonough for not putting together a locker room that could win together. And so I think that's where it starts and stops for me.
TJ Ford, he said over in the YouTube chat, is me thinking that Devin Booker could post 28 points, 5 rebounds, and 5 assists on 46, 38, and 90 unrealistic? I don't think so at all. What did he average last year? 26, 6 and 6, and I think after the All-Star break, 28 or 29 points. So no, I don't think that that's unrealistic.
I think the 38 might be a little unrealistic. I don't know that he's going to get to 38% shooting from 3.
Last year he was injured for a lot of the season. He was shooting at 32%, and we all know he's a much better three-point shooter. And in theory, with Ricky Rubio being able to get him some shots off ball, that should also increase his three-point percentage.
You would hope, but the reality is we have no clue what Monty Williams is going to run for an offense. We have no clue what his system is right now, and that's going to unlock a lot of these answers in the long run. Is what the heck is Monty Williams going to do with this talent, and how is he going to put him in a position to succeed?
We haven't really talked about preseason yet, but so the preseason schedule got announced, and I don't want to do it right now. I definitely want to have Dave in on the conversation, but a little bit of predictions about what bench players get the most run during the preseason.
Check Diallo.
Dude, is Shaq Diallo going to be the player all year that Suns fans are going to be screaming for more minutes for?
Oh, there's going to be one irrational guy, and I have a feeling it's likely going to be him, and that or Aaron Baines. I could see where this goes really sideways, and fans are like, "We want more Aaron Baines. Take DeAndre Ayton out," and I'm going to gouge my eyes out at that point.
So we are coming to the end of the episode. Thank you so much, everybody, for watching on YouTube, getting in the questions over on the Twitter. I do want to address a couple of different comments that we got on the YouTube last week, where people were saying these episodes are too long. You guys need to edit this stuff out. Here's the thing. At the end of the day, we're still doing this for the podcast. So instead of just recording the conversation ourselves and then me editing it, we're doing it live, and then I'm editing it there. So if the long version bothers you, don't watch.
Too damn bad.
Right. I mean, I don't know what to tell you. I can't edit a live video. That's not how it works.
Well, you could, but not with the kind of software that YouTube's making us use now. There's actually some cool stuff we can do here in the future, Tim. I'm learning, and this whole thing, I've seen every chat that's come up, every like. We could actually throw chat questions onto the screen. There's all sorts of things we could do. I just can't figure this stuff out when we're 2 seconds before going live. So. Yeah,
we found out like an hour before. So,
damn you, Google. That's
all right. Shout out again to two listeners, Steve Holler and Daniel Babb, for supporting the show, but hitting the support the show button. If you guys want support, you can do so. But if you guys could hit us up on Twitter at Sun Solar Panel, let me know your addresses, and I will send you some Sun swag this week or next.
And then I'm going to unveil some cool fan stuff that was sent to me over the last week on Saturday's episode. A piece of memorabilia that will go into the really pathetically sad Suns Hall of Fame, and some cool artwork. We'll talk about that on Saturday as well.
Nice. So that is 7 o'clock in the morning, Arizona time, every Saturday if you guys want to join us live there.
Thanks, guys. We'll talk to you soon.